That's what was in the Ark of the Covenant and in the temples, was all of our soul essences, because our bodies were not of a high enough vibration to actually hold them ourselves. That's why the priests and the gurus and whatever that had an actual, they could actually communicate with the outsides, with the spirit, told us what we needed to know. And we followed that.
So was this, like, what time era are you talking?
I think he said it's been in our lifetime that it's been changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it wasn't changed, I don't think, when we came in. Now, I'm not sure that's true. I don't think that's true, but I'll have to look and see if I think he just said like for 20 years or something, you know, this has all been, because Chiron is the one that comes and changes the magnetic field around the earth, which is what we're made of, and allows us to be able to do that. So it would make sense that we would be still reverberating, even if we were carrying our soul's essence, we would not remember automatically. We would still have it in our DNA and our cells, remembering that someone else had to tell us. We weren't worthy of direct communication.
Ooh, I don't like that.
No, me either, but that's kind of how it was. And it wasn't because we weren't worthy, it's because we weren't high enough vibration to hold even a piece of our soul.
Right. I don't like the word worthy, because so many of us women already feel that way for other reasons. So
absolutely. So to have it added in for anything else is
right. So I like the fact, I mean, it makes more sense to me that we were too dense. We weren't vibrating at a high enough level.
Absolutely.
And then at some point in our lifetime, you according to Chiron, then we raised our vibration enough to hold our Christ energy inside of us.
Right. They were saying that I never paid much attention to the Ark of the Covenant. I don't even right now even know what all it is, but he was saying that that's what was our soul essences, is what was carried in there. He said, you were in there. And he said, and if you remember, someone touched that wasn't supposed to and died instantly. And he said, if you would go and examine that person now and be able to see it, you would see that he'd been electrocuted, because that's what we are. We are massive electric and magnetic and this type of thing. But here's something else that he validated for me. And I had said this before, when people track their ancestry and stuff, he says, you are your ancestors.
Yeah, you've said that to me.
Yeah. And I love that validation, because it makes so much sense to me.
Yeah, I think we are, and we've talked about this a little bit. I think we don't incarnate whole like we are. Like right now, if I were to die and incarnate, part of me, when this body dies, part of my soul goes to earth, part of my soul goes here, part of it goes there. So I think there is a part that incarnates it within me again and keeps going, but not all of it.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, and my truth is that we never come in with our full soul. Our bodies could never take that. Right. And then you stop and think that we're living multiple lives right now.
Yeah.
This very moment. So we've got soul pieces there also.
But then explain to me, because we've talked about this in the past, where I've had these experiences, typically early morning, where I all of a sudden feel like I'm putting on a new body, or like a part of me is new, literally. Like, and it's like I'm trying to fit into it, or it's trying to fit into me. And you've told me that's my soul pieces coming back to me. So
absolutely.
Is that something different than the soul pieces that are in parallel lives?
Yep. I think they're different, but I do think that we're experiencing both right now. I think we have to get the soul we came in with all back in, and that's your soul pieces that have left because of trauma, childhood trauma, stuff like this.
Okay.
But we're also in a time, and this is probably almost done because of what's happening on this planet with this ascension process, to where all of the lifetimes that we are living right this moment come together. So when you say, that's also what you could be feeling, is another life coming into you, to where we're all coming together. All the information, everything that we've learned comes into one body. And because we're vibrating higher, we can handle.
Right.
I mean, we're not going to be given more than we can handle.
Although
sometimes it feels like that, doesn't it?
Right. Like, you know, when I had that, when I had what I believe was a kundalini, I'm going to call it an experience, because, you know, with the research I've done, I'm not convinced it was a full awakening. Because there's some people that say if you have a kundalini awakening, you know, you're so totally transformed. And while I'm transformed, I'm not transformed in the sense that a lot of people write about. But I felt like my body couldn't handle that, to the point where I was calling doctors and you know, I was reaching out to everybody I knew. I was like, okay, something's wrong with me, you know, and because it wouldn't stop. So, you know, the energy shot up through me, out my third eye, but then I continued to feel that bliss and that vibration literally in my body for about 5 days. And I couldn't drive, I couldn't function. I really, and so you know, when you say our bodies can handle that, I guess in a sense it did, because I'm still here, but I couldn't function. And I guess that's you know, what's functioning, right?
Yeah. When things get too heavy, you can also tell your guides, teachers, and angels to back off a little bit.
Right.
Right? And sometimes we don't think about that when we're in the middle of it. Because, yeah, it's like being sick. You don't think about what you need to do for yourself because you're too sick to think.
Right. Yeah, that whole parallel life thing, you know, that's where I started understanding time differently, because I don't believe in past lives. I use that term though, because we're linear and we're black and white, and people understand that conceptually better than when I say parallel lives. But there is no time. Everything's all at once. Everything is in the moment. And I also had that experience where I felt like I was in two different times at the same time. Like one, things were passing real slow, and the other one, things were going fast. And I had an awareness of both. And so I think that's where I maybe was aware of a parallel life.
Right. You had your feet in two different worlds.
Right.
That's where a lot of us are right this moment. And that's why we have to stay make sure we ground ourselves.
And again, it's important to have these conversations, because when you start feeling those types of phenomenons, you think you're fuck nutty. You think you're crazy. And I do think that a lot of people get medicated when they present with symptoms like that.
Yep.
And I don't want to go into that, you know, because I medicated people for 20 years that were mentally ill. You know, that was my job. And I do think some of them were requiring some type of biological, physiological intervention. But I do think, and the reason why I do what I do now is that we really need to focus on the spiritual aspect of wellness and alignment and ascension. We need to talk about that before we look at, oh, you need a medication because you're you're not right in the head. We weren't addressing that. I mean, we were in pockets, and some of us did, but it was always, hush hush. We can't document that. We can't really talk about that because, taxpayer funded and all that. But man, we so need to look at the spiritual aspect first and foremost.
Yeah, I think about the stories I've read about the American Indians.
Oh.
Some of the ones that looked the most mentally ill, oh my goodness, they were held at the highest esteem, and they actually knew things. And they would tell them things. Yeah. They were simply resonating at a higher vibration.
Right.
And so they looked odd.
Yeah.
Just as we used to look a lot more odd than we do right now.
What you talking about? Do you think I look funny?
No, but woo-woo was not a compliment particularly. It was I will tolerate you.
It still isn't, I don't think, in many circles.
Pardon me?
It still is not a compliment in a lot of circles.
Right, it isn't. And maybe I've just grown to the point where it's like,
you don't care anymore.
Well, you have compassion. You have compassion for where people are in their paths, on their paths. Yeah. And it's okay where they're at. And it's damn sure okay where I'm at.
Damn it.
Yeah, that's the way it is.
So you probably know I've been recording.
I figured it out. I'm getting really, really smart.
I can't get that by you anymore, huh? Well, that was a really, I think, juicy conversation, but I do want to pull from the Oracle of the Seven Energies, and then we can kind of look at that and maybe talk briefly about it and then go into a meditation.
Absolutely.
So what do we need to know about today and whenever you watch this for our highest good and the good of all?
And I like when you say, or when you watch this.
Right. Because it's not just today, this moment. It's whenever you choose to watch this.
Absolutely. And, and I hate to keep going back to Cryon, but that's what I'm reading right now. He always says, all of you who are here, because this book is based off events, when they had these sessions. Mm-hmm. He said, or whenever you read this, he said, there's only the now.
Right. Like we just said. So all these cards are beautiful. I was going to say I pulled a beautiful card, but they're all beautiful. But I don't think I've ever pulled this before.
Oh, look at the love, sacred reverence.
Yeah, sacred reverence.
I love that. The skeleton key. Oh, I love that.
Number 47, and it's like the pattern of the earth, the world on the hands and the heart.
Yeah.
Then it adds up to 11, which is a master number.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a beautiful card. So, and again, this deck, there's 7 energy centers, and this is the 7th energy center, and the element is thought. The color is golden white. The musical note is B, and the key concepts: awe for the truth that spirit is everywhere, inspiration coming through you as a result of reverence, joyful living, exploring possibilities with curiosity, spiritual passion, manifesting from the starting point of the realm of spirit. Looking at the world, do you see all of life or only a limited part? When you look at a blade of grass, do you see just a plant? When you encounter a puppy, do you see just an animal? Well, this categorizing is one way of viewing the world. It is only a fraction of the truth. It isn't enough. look closer, and you'll observe the luminosity immanent in these living sentient beings. If you can allow yourself to take in all the world, including its spirit, then you will see the whole. Reverence is an act of deep witnessing, respect, and awe. You experience it when you perceive energy being and everything, every plant, rock, and tree as sacred and alive. You naturally lean into a state of bliss and harmony and a profound sense of well-being. Whatever your dilemma or question, try to reframe your perspective to acknowledge the spiritual. If everything has value, including your most frustrating challenges, would you still ask your question from the same place? Can you regard the other as sacred, thereby erasing the separation between you? Oof. Embracing the perfection of how you came together is real magic. And you are tapping into this unity right now. No matter who or what is in front of you, see that person or thing as luminous, and your interaction is holy. Whew. Then you will know what to do for the highest good of all. Wow.
That's,
wow.
yeah, wow. Wow. You know, I think on my webpage, when I'm talking about how I came into this, I talk about, I always knew that rocks were alive, that mountains were alive. And I had nothing to condone that until that one book fell in my hands at the library, you know, and it's like, wow. And so when I hear stuff like this, it's like, yeah. And it wakes me up on certain levels. Like when my back still hurts, you don't feel good. So how do we view this from a different perspective?
Right.
You know, and that's, I'm not saying it's easy.
Right.
I'm saying it may make a difference though.
Right.
And I'm certainly going to attempt to do that.
Mm-hmm. I really like the part about reverence. You know, I've not thought about that word, and I don't use it that often, but I think I might start using it. I like when she says reverence is an act of deep witnessing, respect, and awe. And I use the word witness a lot. You know, I describe my services as, you know, I witness you. And, and I say witnessing is a sacred act, to really witness and hear and be present with someone. And I never thought beyond that is reverence. Reverence is an act of deep witnessing, respect, and awe. I love that. I'm going to have to use that.
I love it too.
I think we need that. If we had that with each other, just because no matter what our beliefs are, you know, no matter if we agree, disagree, whatever, if we had reverence for the spirit of everything. So the spirit of the rock, the spirit of JoAnn, you know, go on.
Right. Well, it's like the opposite of judgment.
Right.
Really? You know, and it changes everything. I don't care if you're in the midst of a big argument. If you can just stop long enough to see the real person, see the, you know, to just see the light a little bit, and it would change it for both. Not just for you, but just for both of you.
Absolutely. I love it.
Oh, I love this time that we're living in, because it's with all this energy coming onto this planet, and with us absorbing that, and with all the sunlight and the codes coming through the sun, we're growing, we're becoming who we are.
And I got to tell you, watching that process in other people is like blowing me away.
Oh, I bet.
I have clients, you know, my clients are ascending so quickly, especially the younger generations.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, talk about good news. You know, I love working with them because I get so inspired and so hopeful. I'm like, oh, wow, they are moving at a rapid great. Once they open up to these new ideas and ways of being, it's like, oh,
Right. Because it registers with them that that is truth automatically. You know, it's like, oh, this is why I'm here.
yeah, they're getting it much younger. I love it.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Absolutely.
All right, my dear, take us into a meditation activation.
Okay. Let's take some deep breaths and remember that picture. You know, see your heart when you're taking these heart breaths, but see it looking like the earth, and see that key. See that key, that skeleton key right there. Take another deep breath. See the Christ light within you, feel your body, and just start rolling out from you, because you are filled. Every cell, every part of you is totally filled with the light of the Christ, and now you are sharing it. And you are saturating Mother Earth. And as you do that, you go back to your heart and you see that there is definitely a place for that key to fit into your heart. So see that key. Go into this beautiful earth heart that you are carrying right this moment. And when you turn that key, it's almost, you can't hardly look. You can't hardly look because the light is so bright that comes out of this. It's like, oh, and when you look closer, you see the light is coming from something that's meant totally for you. There's a treasure chest, and it contains exactly what you've been waiting for. It contains the one thing that you needed to take you to the next level. The one thing to help you walk through that seemingly solid blockage that is nothing but a phantom. It's a gift. It is a gift. And you may not see it clearly right this moment, but it will come to you within hours after you listen to this activation. You will know what it is that takes you past any blockages that you're holding, or to the next level, or into your bliss. So it is unlocked. It is not going to be locked up again. There is no way to close that door to your heart now. So as this settles, take another deep breath. See the light of the Christ that you are spreading, that is spreading out from you, filling not only the room you're in, the state you're in, the country you're in, but saturating our great Mother Earth and all her inhabitants. For as you share, much is shared with you. And it will be even faster when you come into knowing of what the gift you have been given this morning. Take another deep breath. Put your hands on your heart. And know that we are discovering who we are. And this is our gift to the world. And with that, we come back to where we started. And it is done by the power of 3, a perfect trinity. It is done. It is done. It is done.
And so it is.
And so it is.
I love you, JoAnn.
I love you too. Namaste.